What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the PHDJ podcast with your best friends in the world, Joe Bunn and my man.
You set that bar pretty high, Joe.
Yes,
How are you?
It's
Mike Walter, everybody.
It's everybody's best friend, Mike and Joe.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I like to use the word pal because pal's like, it's not a big commitment, with your pals, Mike and Joe.
Pal falls in that category of like being a little assholish, so like it's cheap.
Oh really?
Like down here,
hey, like you could use it that way. Hey pal, what are you parking here for?
Yeah.
Like that kind
hey
of thing.
Chief, hey buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I hate Chief. I can't stand Chief.
Oh man. All right.
To the meat, Joe.
Yeah.
You had an MRI yesterday. I'm concerned about you, my friend.
Don't be.
I've
had this lingering right heel problem.
Okay.
And I thought it was that plantar fasciitis, however you say it, which I've had, I think, in my left foot before, and I did a lot of weird things, man, that I'm not sure how I got it to go away. Like I went into some experimental Eastern medicine shit at one
Really?
point. Yeah, it got weird, man. Like acupuncture and then like these little potions. Like I went to some weird places.
Potions. I don't think potions. Talk about pal.
Me,
potions is not a good thing.
Yeah, no. When it has like an only Chinese label,
and there's smoke coming out of the glass.
Yeah,
it
was definitely 100% homemade. Like it wasn't even.
And it was working. It has worked on you, or temporarily?
No, my left foot's totally healed. I think it ended up being these insoles that my mom saw in one of those airline magazine
that caused the problem. So she got insole help.
Yeah, that helped.
Okay.
I even had the custom ones, and they weren't doing anything. And I feel like my mom sent them to me for Christmas a few years ago, and I put them. I didn't put them in one pair of shoes. I put them in all my shoes. My dress shoes, my running shoes, day-to-day shoes, and then it went away. So I tried.
And so you did the MRI yesterday.
Don't know anything yet. Should know something tomorrow.
Sure. It's tough, right? I've done a couple of MRIs just sitting
weird,
still.
Man. No phones, no.
Yeah.
They did have headphones.
Sound. Have you ever had your head MRI'd?
No.
I did. Yeah, man. Please don't open your eyes.
Right.
Don't. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was. This was not weird because that bed thing only slides up to my knee.
Right. You're sticking out of the bed
I'm
thing.
out of it. Yeah. And they had headphones, and she let me pick the channel, the XM station.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and there's a chill.
I told
station.
the people when I got an MRI like that, I told the people they should do a mural on the ceiling because people are just staring at the ceiling. I'm looking at, a drop ceiling. I'm like, that'd be fun if you painted something up there.
That's actually a good point. Like a play on like the Sistine Chapel where you pick
or do a Sudoku puzzle up there so you have to solve it in your head or something. You know what I mean?
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. I get a few every once in a while.
Yeah, there's your $1 trillion idea.
Yeah.
I asked her how much the machine.
Did you do a gig? Did you do a big gig last night?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a $3 million machine, Mike. I asked her how much it cost. $3 million.
What was that? The person's
MRI. Yeah. The tech. I said, how much is it? And she said $3 million. And they have a few of them. Huge gig last night for like 700 people with a band. So it's one of those gigs where I played the opening when people got there, more like I was playing all kinds of stuff like John Mayer to like, I don't know, anything. Hall & Oates, I can't go for that. I remember I dropped that. And
that's
just
cool.
Kind of putting people in a vibe.
And you never think to record a set like that and post it, do you?
I did.
You should, Joe. It's fun, man.
I know. I did record one, and it's called when I was in San Diego a couple months ago, I walked into their office in San Diego, and I said, does this DJ booth play through the entire office? And they were like, oh, yeah, you just hit this and this. And I was like, let's go. And I hit record, and literally it's on our Mixcloud. It's under Friday Free For All. So listen.
Yeah, you need to do that more often and promote. I do that at my events and things. I did that gig I opened for Brian Bonacici at that Not event. I recorded that, and you just it's kind of fun. You get good feedback.
Yeah.
And So
you the only thing where are you hosting them? Mixcloud?
I'm still on SoundCloud. I haven't been bumped yet or suspended. I'm waiting for that. I still have all the original MP3s. So if I do get bumped, I'll just move everything over to Mixcloud. But I have a Mixcloud account, but right now I still use SoundCloud.
Yeah.
I think the secret is I don't post a set list. I know a lot of people, they list the songs, and I think that might be a trigger for SoundCloud to go after you. I don't know. Who knows? Right. Or maybe my mixing is so bad. There's so many train wrecks that I throw the algorithm off. No, I'm kidding about that. I think.
No, you're good. You're good.
Did you hear the one from Saturday? And I was pretty proud of it.
No,
I went back and posted it. I posted one Saturday. Yeah, not a train wreck in there.
Corporate event or a
no, that was from a wedding.
Yeah.
I came out of the wedding with No Diggity, came out of dinner, with No Diggity, and dance floor got sort of packed, not packed, but you know what I mean, like goods, to the point where I didn't have to say a word, and then I kind of grew from there, and I didn't even open the mic.
Did you pull that as your opener, or they said?
No, that was on her request list.
Right.
Yeah. So I waited. The bride and groom were done eating, the bridal party. I dropped No Diggity, bumped the volume just a little bit, just, and enough people got up that I was like, all right, it's on. And I think I went from there into Club, which again was on her request list.
Wow.
And that doubled the dance floor. And then I was like, all right, this is it. I don't have to officially open up. It's now on.
I think I did the same thing. I don't remember. No, actually, she wanted to open with the anniversary dance. And it was a version of Stand By Me I had never heard that was really good. Last Saturday. But last night, it was just, once the band took a break for 40 minutes, I just ripped through, it was Lenovo, so it was 30 to 45-year-old.
Well, I'm requesting that you hit record the next time you have that opportunity to share it.
I'm making that commitment to all PHDJ listeners. So today, Mike, we are going to recap where you and I were last week, which was Tampa, Florida, at the DJ Collective, the second one that we've ever done. The first one that Mike...
First one that I got invited to.
He's still a little butthurt from year one. But hey,
a little bit.
But you know what? You're here now. And
That's right.
And you're staying, damn it.
Right.
Well, and we had a... Mike and I have both been involved in the past in another group that's no secret anymore, especially since social media is out, called Think Tank. Mm-hmm. The think tank policy is, what happens there stays there. We're not able to talk about the programs or the meetings or anything like
specifics.
that.
Yeah, we can think tank. We can talk about broad strokes, but we really shouldn't talk about specifics that we talk about. And and I definitely understand that that logic, especially stuff that's shared within members. I think whether DJ Collective has that as a written rule or not, I think it's something that everybody that was there last week would honor. I can't think of anything specific that was shared that would infringe on a member. But if anybody really opened up and said, hey, I'm having this challenge with my business, or I think that kind of stuff should be left inside the wall.
Right. Or said they were struggling, or you wouldn't want somebody to be listening to this and pick up on that. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're going to just talk about a few of the really interesting and amazing people that Mike and I met. None of which, DJ wise, I think I knew everybody, but maybe that kid Krieger from L.A. And
he was there last year or not? This was Krieger's first year. So how does somebody like that get invited? Who knew him that invited him?
He and I had this conversation, and now I'm spacing on it, Mike. I know that those. I feel like that planner, maybe Andrea Ippolito, knew him.
Okay.
Maybe Bonacisi. I'm not sure, man. It didn't come through me or Jana, I don't think. I can't remember. But anyway, so there were, I guess, 7 or 8 new people this year. 21 of us total, I think, Mike?
I think so, yeah. DJs, but we had a good number of speakers as well.
That's right. So
do you know what the policy is now for, like, if I have somebody that I want to recommend for next year? First of all, I don't even know if I'm invited back, but assuming I'm invited back. Thank you. It's good to know. Have dates been set yet?
No. So Brian literally went home and then went straight to Engage down in Mexico. So
I know that boy is
he's
busy,
on fire.
insane.
So we're definitely going to set that ASAP. So people that are super busy, basically everybody there, can go ahead and lock in the dates. And then don't hold me to this, but I think that it will be opened up next year a little bit bigger, but it's never going to be a DJ conference, and when I say a little bigger, maybe 40 people, would be
okay.
Like
So they're willing to double basically what was there.
Correct.
All right, it's interesting.
And my early talks with Brian and Jason are, everybody kind of puts some names in the hat that they would like to see there next year.
Is Raleigh in consideration for hosting?
Yes, and so is Atlantic Beach, where my beach house is.
Okay. Because, I just know from when we've done the workshops down in Raleigh, it couldn't be more convenient. You fly in, you Uber to the hotel, and then you never have to walk more than half a mile. And there's a million restaurants.
There's a plus two for Raleigh then, because I'm with you as well.
Yeah, I'm all about Raleigh, and plus it's a hub, so it's easy to get into.
Yep.
There's a lot of airlines that fly there and connect through Raleigh, so there's a lot of different options. Anyway,
sidebar.
Yeah.
So anyway, the day we got there most people got in on Sunday, and then Monday we kind of opened things up around 9:00. Brian Bunn, who's B-Boy Productions.
And Brian, tip of the cap, man. I know we talked about 100%. This last week on our 100th episode, which we recorded from there.
Yes, we did.
If any of our listeners missed that, go back, listen. It's a longer one. It clocked in over an hour, but we had a lot of the collective attendees got on the microphone and camera, if you want to watch it real quick, and said a quick hello and maybe shared a tip or two. So definitely go back and listen to 100 as we record 101. But yeah, so Monday was tip of the cap to Brian, no doubt. He did an amazing job organizing this thing, and Monday was the education heavy day.
Yeah,
I mean that was 9 till like 6, I think.
It was 9 to 6. Yeah,
guest speakers all day, round table. It was a lot.
And Brian had brought in. He's really heavily involved with the Knot and with the Engage Summit, high end wedding conference. So he parlayed his relationships into bringing in some great people. Bernadette was first up from the Knot. I mean, she talked about snackable content, how Generation Z has such a low attention span, and how critical reviews are, which Mike and I have talked about ad nauseum. Mike, congrats.
By the way, if you're watching, I'm looking off camera at my notes. Brian included in our swag bag a notebook, and so as Joe was referencing, I'm looking at my notes that I took from Bernadette.
And sidebar, congrats, Mike, on was it 1600 or 1800th review y'all got?
We just got our 1800th while I was there in Tampa, which was really nice.
Dude.
Yeah,
Crazy.
very cool. Very cool.
Then Andrea Eppolito, who is
hang on one second.
I'm sorry.
One of the things Bernadette shared, I just want this Generation Z expects personalization. Forget about personalizing for your own good. They expect it. And I wrote down they have a Spotify mentality. And I think it's smart. It's one of the reasons I think why traditional radio is going away, because my generation, I used to click on the radio and I looked forward to what the DJ was going to play.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everyone, but specifically that generation, because they haven't known any better, they want to build their own playlist. They want to know what the next song is going to be. And I'm not just talking about for events, but that translates to their mentality about personalization. So I thought that I not only wrote that down, I highlighted it. I thought that was a great tip.
I like that one as well.
Yeah.
Want me to jump over to Andrea now?
Go ahead.
Okay. So Andrea Eppolito, she does high-end weddings in Las Vegas and beyond, I think. I like one of the things she said when she kind of entered the market. She said she set her price above the highest person in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I thought that was ballsy. But I also met with her one-on-one the next day.
You did?
She's a ballsy broad.
Yeah,
she comes from a ballsy background. Broad. Yeah, and you know what? She would take that as a compliment. Right. She would not only we wouldn't mind. She's the type of woman that would take broad as a compliment. Yeah. She's a New York Italian. She comes from an Italian family that has mob ties as well as police ties. She's had an interesting background.
Yeah.
We sat for an hour, and I don't think we talked anything about business. We talked about her family background and everything else. Very interesting. But so that was a ballsy move, right? I mean, she gets into event planning and she says, okay, let's look at the top people in my market and I'm going to charge more than them. Brand new, out of the box. Ballsy. Yeah.
Talk about how blogging still matters. Podcasting, obviously, Mike and I are doing that. YouTube, how it's critical for like your behind the scenes looks. She had a video team like follow her for a really big install. It was I couldn't tell who it was, but it was definitely.
And I think she said that was her husband's idea, which was a great idea.
Yeah. So it was like a celebrity wedding, huge installation, flowers, everything. She said that was killer content. And then obviously building relationships, and then she even talked about the influencer and ambassador role that a lot of people take on, and some people think that means you have to be a Kardashian, but you don't. I mean, these headphones came the other day from somebody that thought I was important.
Right. That's cool.
Painted. They're super cool. They sound amazing. Shout out Floyd Rose for sending those.
Rumor has it some author sent you a book about every day in music too, because he thought you were.
Named Mike Walter sent me. Not only
it would be cool if you had that within reach that you could hold up, but I guess not. There you go.
It's up there. Sorry, it's up there on the shelf.
Don't get it. Don't get it.
Signed, no less. So anyway, Andrea was awesome. Anything you want to add before I kind of scoot down?
No.
Then Sam Jacobson from ID Action Consulting. I think he was on Skype, right?
He was the guy that was on Skype. Definitely a sales-focused seminar. It's always kind of tough when you're sitting in a room and the person's not in front of you. They're Skyping in. But I took a lot of notes.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Maybe
gave.
because I didn't do so well.
He had a lot of stuff about. He talked a lot about whether or not you should put prices on your website.
That. Right.
He thought you should, but more of a range, which I think is starting at or a range or something like that. He had a lot of suggestions about price objection. Again, some ballsy stuff that I don't know if I would use, but maybe make them, kind of fit our model. Like, if somebody says, I think you're a little bit too important, or a little bit too pricey, what's important to you was his comeback question. Oh no, how do you know it's too expensive? Which I think is a good challenge. Like, based on what? What are you comparing it to? Too expensive compared to what? And then restate their priorities. So yeah, I mean, he had some good comebacks. I don't consider myself a great salesperson, so a lot of times answers to challenges like that make me cringe a little bit. But I can also see an effective salesperson using them.
You really don't think you're a good salesperson?
Not in a traditional sense.
How about in a DJ sense?
I think I do okay. I think I'm good at building relationships when I meet with people, and hopefully that's enough to close the deals.
I think I'm good at selling something that I believe in, which is this.
Yeah.
Katie Easley was up next, Mike. She's a florist. She had a couple little sayings that I took away. I love this one: be an asset, not an ass. When you're in the service.
I thought it was funny when she came on. We had heard so much about how important social media was, and then she came on, and the first thing she says was, "I don't believe in social media."
And I almost fell out of my chair.
I know, which I guess goes back to something that we talk about between you and I, that there's more than one way to be successful.
100%.
And here are some people that the first couple speakers were like, "This is essential nowadays. If you're not on these platforms, you're going to get rocked." And here's a successful florist who comes up and says, "I don't do social media. I don't believe in it." So I thought that was the first thing I wrote.
That was definitely interesting.
She also recommended a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. I haven't picked it up yet, but
I wrote that down.
Yeah.
We are in a service business, so serve. I like that. Sales is an active process and always ongoing. I agree with that. And then I like this one. This was one of my takeaways. Be an expert to your clients, not just as a DJ. So when somebody comes in and say you don't offer everything, obviously, who do you recommend for transportation, which always seems to be a problem area, or who do you recommend if they don't have their photographer yet? So, next up,
how do you pronounce it? Hans.
Yeah. The controversial, yet pretty amazing.
Talk about ballsy and coming on strong. They,
Wow. So if you've never met the Hans, Brittany and John Hahn, they are married. They are highly successful, sought after, high-end photographers, but they may even be more successful as workshop-preneurs, I guess, like Mike and I, how we do our PHDJ workshop. They have one called Hustle and Flow mainly for wedding photographers, but Brian Bonacisi went the week before the collective to their workshop, and he got a ton out of it. Mm-hmm. But they come out swinging, and if you are sensitive and not ready to probably make changes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've listened to Howard Stern my entire life, so I'm not shy about language. But they came on with more MFs than I've heard in a long time. In the first 5 minutes, and I was like, whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah.
Well, but, you know, man, they talked about push and pull marketing, growth hacking. Like, their workshop is usually 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So for them to try and squeeze what they wanted to into, they had a morning and an afternoon session with us. I don't even think they had 2 hours. Like, it just wasn't enough time for them to really get out everything that they – and it wasn't – I like the fact that they didn't try and sell you on coming to their workshop. I mean, I think they did give you know, some nice content or some ideas. Like the behind-the-scenes videos, you know, like even somebody else mentioned above, Mike, that was one of the most well-received things that kid that worked for me shot. You know, was just me setting up, giving a quick rundown of what I was doing. You guys do a better job of it, you know, usually, especially, again, since you have videography there in-house. But that was one of the most well-received things I posted last year.
And when you say that, Joe, do you mean from clients or from industry people?
You know, Mike, what's funny about my feed, and I love this about what we do and what I do, and maybe what we've become over the years, but I bet out of the 4,000 people that follow me, and I've never used any kind of growth hack or robot or anything with my personal account, I bet there are over 2,000 DJs following me.
Right. So that's what I mean. I think we talk about this a lot. I think you put out some incredibly creative, unique, kind of out there videos, and I love them.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they connect with brides. As I know, people in the industry are like, Joe's a badass, Joe does this, and that's great.
Right.
But you know, other than maybe selling a workshop seat or two, how does that monetize?
Man, there's no doubt. I'll have one person a month that comes in here and says, I watch your videos. Now whether they... Meaning a client. Yeah, a client.
Okay.
That wants to book. So either says, I watched the videos with you and Randy, or I saw the video of the car. I mean, I specifically had this girl tell me at Flywheel the other day, she said, my fiance wanted to get a band, and he said that wedding DJs were a joke and they were cheesy, and I showed him that car video, and he said, we have to meet this guy.
All right. That's cool.
Mean, so... I don't know that I'm planned it that way, but it definitely is mentioned once a month by somebody.
Right.
I watch your videos.
Good to know. One of the things I have a tough time wrapping my head around is everyone tells you no one cares about your gear. You know, focus on the performance, focus. And then you're saying, well, it's important to get a behind the scenes of you setting up gear. I'm like, wait, that's a dichotomy in my head that I can't really wrap my head around.
I think a lot of that, Mike, has to do with your marketing. In other words, like, I remember my early brochures were like, top of the line lighting by Chauvet, you know, DDJ SX2 Pioneer controller. Like, it listed, like, I remember specifically on the website, like, my gear. I think they mean that. And again, same number of DJs follow you as me, man. Like, they want to see your stuff.
Right.
But real quick, getting back to the Hans, because I do remember doing something that I was like ashamed of myself, but the first thing that Brittany said is, you guys are so effing cheesy. And like the whole room was like, oh. She was like, your logos are cheesy, your websites are cheesy, you use too much MF and teal. And I was like, I'm looking at my clothes. Do I have on teal? Like, I don't even want to be associated with
but you were
teal.
in Cloud 9 because she complimented your shoes.
She did.
So
she liked my shoes.
She complimented Joe's sneakers at one point and said, I would hire that guy just because and Joe literally floated out of the room after that.
I didn't listen anymore.
Yeah.
But she was saying, you need to look at the text on your website. Does it sound like you? Actually, literally read it aloud.
Read it out loud.
It makes you
cringe. They made a good point, and it's so funny. I was doing the same thing, looking up my marketing stuff. is your website in the third person? And their point was it shouldn't be. It should be you talking to the prospective client. So it should be first person, not talking about the royal we, not talking about Elite Entertainment, but what we do. So I was proud that I jumped on our site and it is in the first person, our site. So
I was literally changing stuff as they were talking. It did make me cringe because I think maybe it went through a copywriter at one point. So anyway, read over your text on your site, see how it sounds. And then Nicole Peck came on. She's from BizBash. She ripped through several apps and websites. I don't remember. Did anything really?
I'll tell you one of the biggest things I got from her. I don't even know that there's a business application for this, but I didn't know about the search feature in the camera roll on iPhone. And I was like, no, that can't work. I literally typed in the word van. Yeah. And the 9 pictures of Kelly and I in Iceland,
in the van,
standing in front of the van we rented. How the F does the iPhone know that that's a van and not a car?
Dude, I typed pool.
I typed in waterfall, and sure enough, all the pictures that Kelly and I took in Iceland. So, her point about stop scrolling through your phone, you can find photos a lot quicker. I typed in the word bride, and I've got about a dozen pictures of myself with a bride. Sick. So how does the iPhone know this is not just a woman, but a bride? It's amazing.
Unreal, man. So
it
really is. That was one of the coolest things.
Yeah, I was, and everyone was like, "That's not true." I don't know anyone in the room that knew that.
I did,
because everybody was testing it out. Yeah. And I missed the next 4 things that she talked about because
I was playing with going,
is that really true? And it turns out it is.
I love the Snakes girl. She's great. I got a call set up with her. Her name's Kaylee Weiss. She's a branding expert.
I've started following her on Instagram. She does some amazing things, great pictures. She's and really great. One of the first things she said I thought was amazing. The riches are in the niches. And her point was stop trying to be everything to everybody. Find your specific market and attack it hard. And I thought that was great.
Yep. She touched on some great things with Instagram and, making sure your profile really matches what you do. She, like your adjectives, like I said, I was easygoing, fun, classy, cool. Like she said to do that. She said have someone do a brand audit for you, like especially somebody in your target audience. So, maybe I could get one of these college girls to have a look at our Instagram and see what they would change. Talked a little bit about gifting, which we talked about some the next day. And then she was great, man. I did have a one-on-one with her and got even more information. Her specialty is like high-end stationery and wedding invites and stuff like that, but she really knows her stuff on branding. So if you need help, reach out to Meldeen is the name of her company, Meldeen. And then Graham Cowgill was last. I think he and Brian have known each other a long time. He's more of a motivational speaker, but
I wish he had more time.
Yeah,
I think he only had a half hour, and I was so juiced listening to him. Really positive guy. I did a one-on-one with him the next day, and we just we sat out by the pool and just he really good talk between the two of us.
He seemed super genuine, man. Like even when I woke up super early that first morning and went down to the gym, and what the hell's wrong with his phone? Sorry guys. This dude is an absolute giant. Like, I think he was a pro swimmer. I mean, he's as big as Michael Phelps.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me of Phelps because he's 6'10", big guy.
Arms
and
down to his knees.
He swam in college.
Yeah. But then he played pro volleyball. I mean, the dude is an actual unit. Like, he's giant. But super cool guy. I just wish we had a little more time together. And then Tuesday was we were able to connect in 3 sessions one-on-one. So you basically turned in at the end of the day who you wanted to connect with the next day. I was paired up, and I believe you were as well, Mike, with another DJ and then 2 men and then 2 other speakers.
Right. Kristen put down that she wanted to sit with me, and Kristen and I have chatted for a while. I actually hope she comes to the workshop someday because she's growing a great multi-op down in Florida, and
that's Kristen Wilson with our DJ Rocks.
Right. has some great ideas about growing her company, and she and I had a great conversation. I sat with Graham, and then I also sat with Andrea.
Yeah, and I was with Drew Pierce, and he's an awesome DJ from out in SoCal. And then I was one-on-one with Brittany Hahn, and she and I had an awesome conversation. And then Kaylee that I just mentioned before.
Right.
And then the afternoon, let's see.
We had some roundtables.
Oh,
You led the one about time management. We're going to have to speed this up because we're already at a half hour.
I know it. So time management.
Chris Romero gave some great tips about Google. Phenomenal stuff.
Yep.
I love that.
And then our friend DJ Digital Dave, who's the Steelers official DJ, he actually showed some Ableton tips for doing some song edits. Mm-hmm. And then finally on Wednesday, we started the day. What did we start the day with?
Wednesday was sort of a half day, and then we went boating.
That's right. We had some guys come on and talk about gifting. I wish they had been there and brought in products. That's what I told Brian. You can't show something without showing it.
Right.
And then we went out on some electric boats, and then out to dinner that night. And then everybody.
The amazing thing to me was we went out to dinner Wednesday night. So this is the end of the conference. Yeah. After dinner, we get back to the hotel.
Oh, yeah. I went to bed.
And Dave and Drew say, hey, we can share some Serato tips if you want. Yeah. And literally 11 o'clock at night, not everybody, but a bunch of us get back together, an informal thing, pop open our laptops. And I learned 2 or 3 things about Serato that I never knew. So I'm like, it's midnight, end of the conference, and I'm still learning. And that's a great compliment to not only Brian, who organized it, but everybody who was there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was fantastic, and definitely looking forward to the dates next year. I tried to get up Thursday and go fishing, and then that cold snap had kind of ruined it, so I just came on back to Raleigh. But
yeah, it was funny. Everybody talked about, oh, you're so lucky to be in Tampa. No, not really. No, it was chilly. It was a chilly. Yeah. It wasn't as chilly as it was up here in Jersey, but it was chilly.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yep.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in as usual. Listen, we have a few signups, and we are looking. Excuse me. We are looking for more. Yeah, we're looking for more. Thank you, Mike. PHDJworkshop.com. Everybody, please come to Las Vegas to Mobile Beat. First and foremost, stay another day and a half. Take the red eye home Friday and rock your wedding on Saturday.
Or stay in Vegas for the weekend. Yeah. Vegas is not a bad place to be for the weekend. You don't have, just because Joe and I are taking the red eye on Friday night, doesn't mean you have to. You can party all weekend.
Be smarter than the old guys.
Right.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Happy holidays, Mike.
Have a great one.
Later.
Bye.